This is Jackie Cooper with Crypto Mom 2, and I want to welcome everyone to this episode and definitely remind everyone to like and subscribe as there are many wonderful conversations that are about to be shared. And I want to make sure that you are always in the know as to what's happening in our community. Today, I have a very interesting guest on, and we're going to be talking about something that is really critically needed in the blockchain space. We're going to be talking about the skill sets that executives need to have in order to have and run a successful company. Before I hop over to my guest, who is also an expert in this area, and we'll learn more about his background and the service that he provides. Let me share, for those that are new to Crypto Mom 2, let me share a little bit about myself and also about a new project that will be launching this week that I'm very excited about. So for those that are have been following, I appreciate all the followers. My background is law, and I've been in this space, in the blockchain space, for a little bit over 5 or 6 years now. But I'm also an educator and an author, and I definitely believe that as the blockchain space evolves, we always need to keep up to date with, as best as possible, with the evolving resources. So with that, myself and my team have created the Blockchain Legal Institute, and you can find that at www.bli.tools. And it's a centralized hub for all the decentralized resources that you might need as a business to navigate the legal landscape that is constantly changing. So with that, please go ahead and check out the new Blockchain Legal Institute. But I want to talk more about today and my special guest. Um, he actually has been in the space for many years, and we were talking offline about the need that blockchain companies, Bitcoin mining companies, and others in the space need to have, because there's both a technical skill knowledge set as well as a personnel knowledge set, and there's many different levels that blockchain businesses need to navigate. So with that, I want to welcome Samuel Durgill to the platform. How are you doing today?
Hi, nice. Thank you very much for inviting me to speak to you today.
Yeah. So I am definitely going to be sharing your website so everyone can see the in-depth look that you take. But why don't you go ahead and share a little bit more, because I love stories and I love to find out how individuals kind of navigated over to their current passion, because I know my area has not been straight and narrow, my path. So how did you come to be in the current space that you're in? And what interested you in learning and helping more on the human resource side?
Sure. You're a trained lawyer. I'm a trained accountant. I spent the first 8+ years of my career uh, in audit and working in industry and back in audit. And as I was hitting 30, I realized I don't think I want to do this for the rest of my career. Um, I sat back and figured out that I like helping people more than I like dealing with numbers. And a couple of mistakes later, I ended up in recruiting. Uh, and so for the last 22 years, I've been in recruiting. Last 11 years in 11, 12 years in retained executive search. Um, what I love about what I do is we help companies get the people they need to run the companies and make a difference. Um, the relationships that we build are with people, our clients, our companies, and the people relationships that we build. You know, when I was younger, I would have thought that, senior executives lived in this world that I would never attain and understand. What I've learned long ago and continue to appreciate is these are real people with real challenges and a lot of responsibility.
Mm.
Um, and the relationships that I build with people very much a coaching style relationship where people who are in my uh, that I'm a satellite to really get to be part of their continuous career development, how they make a difference to companies, how they make career choices and changes, and how they build teams for the companies that they're responsible for so that they can succeed and employ people and create shareholder value and make a difference to the rest of the world. So uh, love what I do. I get to speak to amazing people every day. Uh, for me, I like sports, but I don't follow sports. I follow business. To me, business is my sports, and the Wall Street Journal is my business, is my sports page. I and every article that I read has some impact on the businesses that I'm talking to. And as we've seen over the last few years, crypto, blockchain has been more and more in the news, in the business news. Many people don't really understand what's behind it, but in the mining space specifically and the blockchain space um, uh, globally, there's a lot of change happening in this. And if you step forward 10 years and look back, financial services is going to be a very different world because of crypto and because of blockchain.
I
Now, the likelihood is it won't look anything like we thought it would look like. But we're on that path, and the trailblazers today are creating real companies, profitable companies, and investors are curious and interested in how does a crypto mining company or a blockchain space company that is on the edge of everything that we've been used to for a very long time, create value, build a business, build shareholder value and share price. And it really is about people and smart people and capable people and people helping bring together um, people from different backgrounds within their organization to be able to move towards success in their business. And I get to help. I get to help these companies build their leadership teams. And I think of some of my clients and what we've been able to help them do to get them where they are today and get them ready for the future. Um, it's a great feeling.
I'm going to share your platform because, again, you're dealing with the executive search side. So,
Correct.
and you did, mention Bitcoin mining companies, and also the idea of just blockchain businesses in general. Many people who might be thinking about the individual products like the coin don't might not who might be going to a platform like Coinbase might not understand the true depth of the business behind the token or the coin. And I know I didn't until I went to my first Bitcoin conference in Miami 2 years ago. I had bought, a variety of tokens. And again, let me just say at the beginning of this, these shows are not investment advice, not legal advice. They're purely educational. You have to do your own research and due diligence. But when I went to the Bitcoin conference, I was blown away by the exhibit hall, and I was volunteering there, but I walked around and saw all these different businesses that were there, from the businesses that were using the Bitcoin mining rigs to heat homes, to those that are the actual, the larger publicly traded Bitcoin mining companies like CleanSpark, who ended up sponsoring one of my books, Bitcoin Cinderella and the Seven Dwarfs, to such a variety of other players, the individuals that provide the parts to those that do the services. So with your executive search firm, are you dealing with the what level of individuals are the companies? Can they reach out to you and say, okay, we have this need, we're growing this area, where are you in this to help and provide support?
Sure. Um, Titles can mean different things in different organizations.
That's true.
So I don't work with the idea of titles, although I would say, in larger companies, director and above, and in smaller companies, maybe VP and above. But I don't like focusing on that. To me, it's about leadership.
Hmm.
And now leadership can mean a site manager. So someone who's responsible for the running of sites or countries. Um, it could mean CEO, uh, head of finance, head of marketing, uh, head of mining, uh, head of HR, and people that report to these people. Um, we've helped our clients build their businesses with the right leaders coming from the right space. Now, what's interesting, especially in a growing and young sub business like Bitcoin mining, and if you're in consumer products and you're looking to hire an executive, you want to hire someone coming with consumer products experience. In Bitcoin mining, it's hard to hire someone with Bitcoin mining experience because there aren't that many people running around with 10 years of Bitcoin mining experience, especially at scale. So how do you hire an executive that can help a business um, that they may not have been directly involved with previously? And how do you make that match? And really, it's understanding the core of what is a Bitcoin mining business. Kind of a Bitcoin mining business can be considered in some ways like the data center business,
Hmm.
because a bunch of computers, lots of electricity, um, you know, that's one way to look at it. Another way to look at it is as a financial services business. Is it finance? Is it tech? Is it both? What does that mean? Um, what's fascinating about a Bitcoin mining business is there's no head of sales in a Bitcoin mining business. Okay. It's a miner. They're creating a commodity. They're actually mining for Bitcoin or whatever else they might be doing. And there's no sales. There's no receivables. You have a commoditized product. It's like, in some ways, like gold mining. You
Hmm.
mine for the gold, you get the gold, you have the gold. You don't have to sell it because it's worth what it's worth. Um, so how does an executive what's the right CFO for an environment like that? Um, public company issues. There's lots of scrutiny for uh, mining companies, mostly because they're not really understood. So you deal with the large investors who know the space well and are getting to details about hash rates and cost of electricity and cost per Bitcoin, sustainability issues. Where is your electricity coming from? To um, you know, uh, lots of very interested individual investors who can get on the calls just like the analysts can get on the calls and ask questions. I want to know, the big thing that's coming up in Bitcoin mining is, next spring,
The
the
halving.
halving is coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
How are your costs? If all of a sudden your revenue is going to be cut in half, or your creation of Bitcoin is going to be cut in half, okay, that means that your cost is going to be doubled per Bitcoin.
I'm going to
Well,
interrupt you for a quick second, because I also like
please.
to, no, I want you to continue that thought. But for those that might not understand how, and I have been and I am a Bitcoin miner, so I had to learn about the rewards and things like that. But for those of you that are listening that are not familiar with Bitcoin mining, if you go to a platform, you can buy the Bitcoin. But in order for Bitcoin to get there, it has to be created. And it's the rigs that are creating the Bitcoin. And it's through a mathematical coding that, all these rigs are trying to solve the equation. And when they finally figure out for the block, what the code is, there's a reward. And that is a daily drip into a wallet that the mining rig earns. Similar to, like, when you go to MasterCard and Visa and those other platforms, you get charged a finance fee. Well, this is not like a finance fee, but it's the cost of doing business, basically. So to create the Bitcoin. So that reward that is being created, and again, everyone should go and read the white paper, to understand more about Bitcoin. But at what Sam was talking about is that in March, April, there's going to be the halving. At a certain point, the rewards formula changes. And so that means that it will impact companies because the amount that they're earning today is going to be less in the spring. And so the profit that they have been basing their businesses on is going to change. So I'm going to, so for those that, again, if you need more information about the technical side, definitely, there's a lot of information out there, including my book, The Bitcoin Cinderella and the Seven Dwarfs. But Sam, go ahead and continue, because I'm always trying to make sure that those that are listening who might not have the same background knowledge that we do, at least kind of can be shared that information, because I love what you're saying.
Of course. Now remind me where I stopped.
I'm so sorry. You were
No, it's
talking.
okay.
You were talking about how with the halving that's about to happen, that individuals who are within the executive team of these Bitcoin mining companies are going to need to know how to navigate when all of a sudden their profit margins are changing, and they're going to have to look at what other either products or verticals, other ways to kind of supplement. And they're going to have that skill set in order to think on their feet as the market changes.
Right. So I'm gonna go back 30 years for a moment.
Okay.
Okay. So those that, if you weren't at least a teenager 30 years ago, this may not, you may not know about this. In the old days, internet was all about dial-up. So what does that even mean? It would mean, rather than connecting to cable or fiber that we do now, we would go into a line and we would actually dial into the internet. We'd use our phone line at home. If we were fortunate enough, we'd have a separate phone line and dial into the internet. Now, 30 years ago, there were all these little companies doing internet locally. They were access providers. They were all locally owned, and lots of them. And that's how you would access the internet. So you would have a subscription with this local company. There's also CompuServe at the other end, but generally many people had these small attachments, and then telco companies bought these things all up. They just bought them up, swallowed them up, and then became there weren't any small players anymore. With halving coming next year, and with companies going to be under pressure next year, and that pressure is beginning to build, there's going to be consolidation in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
If you take a look at who the big players are, the biggest players are running between 1% and 2% of Bitcoin production on a regular basis. Okay, there is no gorilla doing Bitcoin mining production. When the cost advantage disappears, there's going to be the industry. Again, this is all personal perspective. I'm just sharing a thought. It's not a gospel. It's just where I'm seeing it going based on what I remember from my younger days. These companies are going to be bought out. There's going to be less competition and more larger Bitcoin miners that are going to come out there. And of the top names that we know today, within 18 months, half of them are going to disappear. They're going to be gobbled up by others. Because of that cost structure issue, there are some very efficient miners that are out there, and there's some less efficient miners that are out there. Companies that are really focused on what is needed to do that right now, and leadership in these companies right now are focused on making that happen operationally. It's a very big challenge. Um, and we have a front seat to that every day. Very cool.
What I'm excited about to learn more from you about your search capability is where do in addition to Bitcoin mining, what other areas within the blockchain world do you see that you can provide the service that they need? Because you're right, the financial world is changing because of um, decentralized finance. So what are the questions that these companies should be asking for those who are on the team? I know that, creativity is always a key factor, but what else should they be looking for, and how can you support them in that?
The life cycle of companies,
Hmm.
50 years ago, the life cycle of companies was lot longer than the life cycle of companies today. Companies today exist for a shorter period of time. The acquisitions that happen, the roll-ups that happen, the industry changes that happen. And if you think of blockchain for a moment, let's leave crypto in aside and just go larger on blockchain. How is blockchain going to impact banking? How's blockchain going to impact the insurance business? I mean, the huge opportunities in that. And there's looking at it, and I say 10 years from now, we'll look back and we go, we never thought we'd be here, but that's where we are. There's a lot of things going on. All this change, okay? They're going to be winners all around, some losers. But the winners, whether they're smaller businesses or larger businesses, the decisions that are being made by the leaders of these businesses are pushing these companies forward towards success. And the change that will happen in the next 10 years, business across the board, but specifically in financial services, the impact of blockchain will have on it, how crypto will be there. We've had all these, we haven't talked about exchanges.
Hmm.
Okay. The exchanges, uh, rightfully so, have been vilified for doing things with other people's money that maybe they shouldn't have. I'm not going to go into that specifically, but the fact is that um, exchanges are going to. The question is, will Bitcoin exist outside of the financial system truly as a separate entity, or will uh, Bitcoin be just another currency? Okay. And if it's just another currency, the banks are going to be in the Bitcoin exchange business some way, somehow, as the regulatory figures itself out. And, in our lifetimes, Swift will disappear.
That's a major
We're going,
statement.
you know, hopefully I'm around for at least another 30. Uh, I can see it because it's just, that's a long time.
Yeah.
Short maybe, but a long time. There's not going to be a need for Swift. You can actually move money on the blockchain, call it crypto or whatever you want to call it. Why would we be moving money around by wire?
No, it makes total sense. It makes total sense. So I do want to just share with everyone that if you have a need on your team to reach out. Now, what's the best way for them to contact you?
There's I mean, the website Durgle Search is up there. You can go to contact us, send us a message.
Mhm.
We're pretty good about getting back. Um, we have a phone number, but let's be realistic. Nobody answers the phone these days. We'll schedule a meeting to talk, but we're just the way it is. I don't want to.
Yeah, no.
Y-
And the other thing is I know that you're global, so that way
we
there,
are global.
yes.
This year we've joined a search firm called Cornerstone.
Okay.
Uh, we're in 40 countries and 60 cities around the world, really have the capacity and the ability to serve our clients. Um, I've gotten to know a lot of the partners, a lot of my partners. And it's a great firm, really committed to the success of our clients. And we know what it means to help a business hire the right leaders, because hiring the wrong leaders, um, uh, it happens. But if you really know what you're looking for and you do a great search, you'll find them. There's a lot of great people out there.
I would agree. And I know that on my talk show, Crypto Mom 2, and the other shows that I do, I'm discovering great people all around the world and who are very creative, very talented. But I also, when I learned about what you were doing in this space, I definitely felt that it was important because it's, when someone is running a business, it's difficult to, we all wear multiple hats, but it's really difficult to run the hat of finding a team person if you have a gap, because you are basically filling that gap at the same time that you might be looking for someone. So having, a firm like yourself really is more like the divide and conquer type of thing, where you can have someone who can actually um, ask the questions and then provide a list of the possible candidates that need to be considered, because again, time is the most precious commodity that we all have. And when you're running a
Well,
business, you're focusing on the mission of the business, and if you have to kind of navigate to another stream, it's like, okay, which paddle am I using?
time is not our friend as we're trying to make things happen in the business world.
Yeah.
And working with partners, whether it's in search or any other external partners, um, you want to work with someone who's dedicated and committed to your success,
Hmm.
that understands you, cares about you and the business and the people in the business and your goal, and can really explain that to people who may or may not know the business, but you're trying to attract to the business.
Hmm.
Um, we really try to make sure we understand our clients, and explain that to people as we're talking to them about this, the opportunities that we're looking to help our clients fill.
I agree. For those that are listening, the link durgalsearch.com will be posted below. For those that are watching the YouTube, definitely you can see the contact us page is there, and you can definitely feel free to contact them. So if you have a need, or refer this out to someone else that you might know who's building a business or in business that also has a need. And for those of you that also, and everyone is, impacted at some point with law, whether it's case law, legislation, or development, definitely visit Blockchain Legal Institute at www.bli.tools. So that way you can look at the resources that I'm providing, so that way you can also be successful, because it's definitely about people, but it's also about knowing about compliance and what's going on in our ever-changing community. So for everyone that is on the Crypto Mom 2 space, thank you. And as I always say at the end of all of my calls, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. We are so interconnected and we're all part of one world. Have a great day.